Friday Night Football comes to you from the Hive in Atlanta, Georgia. You're looking live at tonight's SFL Week 13 matchup between the Charleston Predators and the Atlanta Swarm. Good evening, everyone. I am Cameron Duty alongside my friend John Warren. And John, it's great to be with you again. Both these teams, they're looking for a late season rally to finish the regular season on a high note with aspirations for the postseason. What do you think could be a difference maker in this game tonight?
Well, thanks, Cameron. It's good to be here. My advice is really similar for both of these teams. It's to look to their backfields. For Charleston, it's a crowded but steady backfield, and they need to be productive to take pressure off of John Lakeman. It was close to the very bottom in the league in interceptions. For Atlanta, the BDG Hollywood and Jason Williams combination is the key to put Charleston's defense on its heels. It's Atlanta's last game of the season. If they lose this one, they are eliminated. It's a huge game. I'm excited for this matchup between two very evenly matched teams.
Thanks, John. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I want to thank Robert Garrett Jr. and Declan O'Rourke for stats this evening, and of course, Cameron Irvine in the production booth. Folks, get comfortable, grab a snack and a beverage. You're not going anywhere for the next hour and a half or so. Kickoff is underway. This one returned to the 22-yard line where Atlanta will set up shop, and let's say hello to the offense quickly. Quarterback Bryant Dynasty and Chad Moore. You'll see both of them. The halfbacks Jason Williams and BDG Hollywood. The fullback Mitchell O'Brien. The wide receivers Kyle Fenimore, Henry McGee, Boo Chisholm, and Kay Marion. The tight ends Talon Steele and Why Not Arlett. The tackles Carter Hollywood and Dean Falco. The guards Sam Falco, Ethan Kai, and center Astro Smith. First play from scrimmage here for Bryant Dynasty, who throws deep, and it's already reeled in by Kyle Fenimore. What a way to start the game, John.
That's a huge way to start the game. Bryant Dynasty had a million minutes to complete that pass to Kyle Fenimore, who just breaks past the defender and gets a step on Jacob Clear, who was pulling center field duty, and that's a huge gain right away.
A huge game. You talk about tempo and Atlanta, how important this game is for them. A bye week next week. Atlanta also working to stop a 3-game losing streak. That's a good way to start. The throw over the middle, that is complete to the tight end, Talon Steele. Let's say hello to the Charleston defense. Anthony Robertson and Dan Dasher, defensive ends. The defensive tackles, Anthony Ellison and Forrest Dalton. The linebackers, Jack Brown, Mojon Tana, Gino McFly and Khalil Thomas. The cornerbacks Mark Martin, Adam Knoll, and Corey Minner. The free safeties Matt Ryan, Sam Blotner, Jacob Clear, as we mentioned, and John Stamango. And look at this right here, a good defensive play to break up that pass. We just mentioned Mark Martin, and there he is with a deflection.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice to go out wide to Talon Steele. Every single time Talon Steele gets his hands on the ball, I go, well, that's an illegal forward pass because that's a lineman, right? No, it's Talon Steele. Just all 6'7", 263 pounds of him.
Talon Steele having a really good season coming into this game with 25 receptions, almost 400 yards, and a touchdown to his credit. Take a look at Dynasty now. Again to the air, complete, and again to Talon Steele, just like we mentioned.
3 targets in a row to Talon Steele, and why not? Just a big target in the middle. It's easy, and that's where he lives. That outside pass was interesting, but Talon Steele is really most effective in the middle, where he can really just out muscle basically everyone on the field.
That physicality and strength certainly does come into play. 1st and 10, already down to just outside the 30-yard line. The first time today they go to the ground, they give it to Jason Williams, and he gets stopped for nothing after a great tackle by Dan Dash.
Yeah, Jason Williams has been such an interesting addition to this team, coming over from Sioux Falls, having a really nice season backing up BDG Hollywood, which is a tall order.
Jason Williams coming into today's game, 8 touchdowns on the season, 6th highest in the SFL. 2nd and 9. Back to throw, complete. And right now, what more can you say about Bryant Dynasty and his accuracy? That's Chisholm on the reception.
Yeah, Bryant Dynasty is having a pretty good season. Still more interceptions than touchdowns, but that's not outside the norm. Just having a really efficient day-to-day so far. Boo Chisholm leads this team in average yards per catch, and that was a big one.
From first down, one receiver there on either side of the screen, as you can see up top and below, but now you have a man in motion. That is why not Erlet. The handoff, pitch left side to Hollywood. And the Hall of Famer Hollywood gets about 5.
Yeah, and Hollywood is just so tough to bring down in that first. So shifty when he is met by that first defender and gets enough shimmy there to break free and get 5 yards.
So on 2nd and 5, as the clock continues to run here, approaching the end zone. There we go. Another handoff to Williams as they continue to use that two-headed threat there between Williams and Hollywood, as you mentioned. And we'll also see Mitchell O'Brien in as well, who has got some carries this season. So you just never know who you're going to see in that backfield.
Yeah, it's true. And Corey Minner right there just wrapped up Jason Williams there in the hole.
Kay Marion, she goes down to the bottom of the screen, as you can see. And Bryant Dynasty to throw. There is Hollywood out of the backfield. He gets the first down. He literally storms forward and gets a couple more yards. 1st and goal.
That was a great play, but it was also kind of a what if. If Bryant Dynasty had caught BDG Hollywood in stride and he not had to kind of turn back around, that might have been a touchdown there. But still, really nice job to get the extra yardage, get the first down, and now they're set up 1st and goal from just about the 2-yard line. So actually the 1, they're spotted at the 1. So they're in good shape here.
In the red zone this season, Atlanta has been pretty productive, at least coming away with points on the season. And there's a touchdown, a great little play to the fullback, as we mentioned, Mitchell O'Brien for the TD.
Well, you mentioned him. He only came into the game with 9 carries, three catches, and those 3 catches went for 20 yards. That's his first touchdown of the season, either on the ground or through the air. So, yeah, you never know who's going to emerge from that backfield, I guess. And Mitchell O'Brien putting points on the board.
Sammy Steele now on to attempt the extra point. It is right down Broadway, and Atlanta comes out firing a 4-minute drive, 79 yards on 10 plays, and they take the early lead. And we talked about tempo being critical here in this game, John.
Yeah, there was no pressure on Bryant Dynasty. He was well protected that entire series. Really efficient, really decisive with his throws. So really, really nice start to this drive for Atlanta. Now, they've been in some really tough matchups all season. Close matchups, and so it's not over yet. They're used to kind of close matchups here, so we'll see if they can keep pace with Charleston, whatever they decide to do here.
Francis brings this one out, and that is where Charleston will set up shop, and we'll say hello to the team in just a moment. Let's take a look at quarterback John Lakeman. You talk about interceptions. Lakeman has struggled this year, 11 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. We expect him to try to have a much more clean game tonight.
Yeah, they're going to need it.
1st and 10 for Charleston. To the air immediately, and a nice reception by Xavier Solomon.
Yeah, that was a really nice catch by Xavier Solomon. Turned around to grab it. If it had been in stride, it might have gone for even more yardage because Xavier Solomon got kind of behind both defenders there. But in fact, both defenders kind of got jammed up there and sprung Solomon from behind.
Again, we talk tempo, and both of these teams, it's important to them to get off on the right foot today. And for the moment, both of these teams seeming to be able to move the football down the field anyway, at least the beginning part here. Lakeman punt fakes, got a little, I guess you would say, called up there with the pressure coming, and a big-time sack by number 99. That is Joshua Williams. Take a look at that.
Yeah, just kind of a weird play there. Lakeman with the pump fake think he thought about maybe tucking and running, but just swallowed up by Joshua Williams.
2nd and 2 for Lakeman and company now. Rolling out to avoid the pressure. He gets hit as he throws, and that is incomplete. Let's say hello to this offense real quick by Charleston. We mentioned Lakeman, the halfbacks, Saren Storm and Nick Hoagland, the fullback, Terrell Sutherland and Brad Taylor Wright, the wide receivers, Honus Odeby, Ian Francis, Bredington James, Davius Reed, and Benjamin Warner. The tight ends, Leon Sandcastle, Xavier Solomon as well. The tackles, DeBrickashaw Molyneux and Perrin Ibarra. The guards, Leroy James and Finley James, and the center, St. Nebuchadnezzar. Big play coming up here. If they want to extend the drive, they go deep. The pass is complete to Benjamin Warner. Big play. The drive continues.
Huge play. Leader on the Charleston Predators team in receptions. Benjamin Warner just so tough in the middle here. Knew he was going to get hit. Did get hit right away by Nathan Barnett. Didn't matter. He held on to the ball. Huge first down for Charleston.
And so on 1st and 10 now, this drive continues. We will say hello to this Atlanta offense in just a moment. Charleston overcoming their first hurdle of the game after a loss and then coming back with a big play on 3rd down. And take a look at this. Another great tiptoeing reception by Benjamin Warner along the sidelines.
Yeah, Benjamin Warner just trying to put his stamp on the game early, and a really nice catch there on the sideline.
Let's take a look at this replay quickly. Again, nice placement there of the football. We got to give Lakeman credit for that. Great job.
Jay Miraculous tried to anticipate that ball, maybe sailing a little bit, was ready for a tiptoe circus catch on the sideline for an interception, but instead, Benjamin Warner had other plans.
Fair set of downs. Oh, that pass, and it's intercepted, and it's going the other way. And there we go. The interception bug we talked about has bit them once again. This time it is Aquantis Shine with the INT.
Aquantis Shine, third on this team in tackles. And this is his first interception of the season, and it's a huge one. Tip drill to himself. Lakeman too careless with the ball all season, and this is just a pattern for him, unfortunately, for Charleston and Atlanta there to take advantage.
The amazing thing about it is the accuracy, the attention to detail that we were able to see right there in him. Reading the eyes of the quarterback. Secondly, the ball was tipped. He still followed through and made sure to come down with it. Impeccable stuff. Now on 1st and 10, and Charleston's defense has to automatically go back to work. And how demoralizing is this when you have such a good drive going?
It's really demoralizing, and I think it compounds, right? I mean, I think the more Lakeman turns the ball over, this defense has to march back out there. Maybe they're short on rest. Maybe they're a little fatigued. And it's tough, especially when Atlanta just posted a four-minute drive.
Talk about stopping the bleeding. That is what this Charleston defense wants to do. But at the moment, right now, you've got Fenimore and company owning the hive.
I mean, they want to stop the bleeding, but they're full of holes like Swiss cheese right now. So it's a tough going. And Kyle Fenimore having a big game so far. With a couple of big catches already, and Atlanta off to another roaring start.
Approaching midfield already, a fast-moving first quarter. We already have 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. And they keep it on the ground, and that goes nowhere. That was a bum play indeed, but a good job of the defense there, Matt Ryan and company on the stop.
Yeah, and Charleston realizing that, they're going to keep Atlanta honest with their run game. I mean, the run game is, the third leading backfield in football. So, even if it doesn't go anywhere, they've got to keep them honest.
Dynasty to throw again. That is a nice, we'll say, solid completion to get some positive yards. 3rd and short on the way after the reception by Arillette.
Yeah, that was White on Arillette, who is kind of secondary to Talon Steele, but still a very important player to this offense.
And a big 3rd and 3 for both sides of the football, especially for Charleston's defense here trying to get off the field. Pressure coming The throw over the head of the intended target, and we can credit the defensive pressure that time that they got on Dynasty there to kind of flutter that throw a little bit.
Yeah, Dynasty definitely pressured. Throwing it up to Kay Marion is never really a bad plan. 6'6", 222. She's obviously a wildly talented receiver. It's having her, I think, her best season yet. So it's a good strategy, but just overthrown.
And now with the punt, so the defense for Charleston does exactly what they needed. They get the ball back after the interception. Of course, at least they did not surrender any points. We'll put it that way. Francis gets the return here, and they'll start at the 21-yard line. Now, let's say hello to the Atlanta defense. We didn't get a chance to cover them after that incredible play. The defensive tackles, Leo Jefferson and Joshua Williams. The linebackers, Shad Allen, William Patterson, Chris Porter, Aquantis Shine, as we mentioned with the INT, and Billy Ray Valentine. The cornerbacks, Bentley Bonner, Nathan Barnett, and Jay Miraculous. The free safeties, Moose Papineau, Grant Hardaway, and the strong safeties, Jeff Spicoli and Chris Henry. A lot of action already on the football field this evening, and another great offensive play right there. That was a great pass by Lakeman, and he completes it to Benjamin Warner again.
Yeah, Benjamin Warner having a really great day, and you could just see that zone coverage just a little bit too loose. Obviously, right there, we saw Jay Miraculous staying with his assignment, but Warner was able to run behind him. Good thing that the safety was there to make the wrap up. Otherwise, it would have been a big gain.
So now this Charleston offense has proven that they can move the ball through the air. They average about 198 passing, or excuse me, just a little over 200 passing yards a game. 208, actually. Let me get my facts right there. Average per game. So they can move the ball through the air, but they have to convert that to touchdowns. And they can't turn the ball over. Lakeman to throw. That pass is tipped. And another great job by Aquantis Shine. Let's go back to Cameron Irvine at the SFL headquarters. What have you got for us, my friend?
I've got history, Cameron. Fellas, in 12 minutes, Gabriel Manning has broken the 4K23 single-game receiving record with plays like this. 258 receiving yards in the first 12 minutes of the game, 4 touchdowns. Tulsa, well, Gabriel Manning, blowing out the Mavericks, 28-3. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cam.
Sorry?
John, we will forever remember.
Sorry?
Yeah, we will forever remember where we were the day that Gabriel Manning went off. And right here in Atlanta, as Atlanta leads 7-0. But isn't that incredible? What stats? What an individual performance.
Cameron, I'm a professional, so I'm going to be locked in. Real tempting for me not to turn on YouTube and go check out that other game.
That's what we got the highlights for. Great defensive effort that time by Jay Miraculous. I certainly understand the want to, though. An incredible individual performance indeed. Just great stuff. Just goes to highlight what's going on around the Simulation Football League week in and week out. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. We've seen some amazing stuff this season, and yeah, more to come, I'm sure. That was a great pass breakup by Jay Miraculous, forcing the punt for Charleston.
And right there under our nose, that is a quick possession for Charleston before Eric Blueberry had to come on and punt it away. And you take a look, good hang time there, and that's going to roll just into the end zone. And that was close. A good effort by Blueberry to try to pin them deep. Just needed some return men down there to kind of block that one off from the end zone.
Yeah, Blueberry, one of the premier punters in the league, and almost had a brilliant one there. But just rolled just into the end zone, and Atlanta will start at 20.
So 1st and 10, Atlanta right now. So far, everything has went the Swarm's way. We'll see if that continues, as we have just 52 seconds remaining in this first quarter of play. Again, we thank you all for being with us on this Friday night. But hey, where else would you want to be, right? SFL. Handoff, again going nowhere to Jason Williams, and that is something that Atlanta has kind of struggled with on this game. Usually they average about 123 yards a game, but for the moment, I know it's early, Charleston defense doing a good job of locking down.
Yeah, it's not surprising that Charleston is stacking the box, trying to stop the run, because it can get away from opponents when Atlanta starts to run the ball downfield.
Little quick toss over the middle, a diving reception made by Kay Marion for some positive yards. 3rd and 5 on the way.
Well, she finally gets involved. She had that target earlier in the game that went over her head, and this one was a short one. She had to kind of roll down for it, but getting her involved is always a good plan.
The final snap of the first quarter. Dynasty rolling and throws into a absolute slew of Charleston defenders, but there is Kay Marion again with the second straight reception and her best thus far.
Yeah, they needed to break the seal and get Kay Marion going, and now another big gain. Bride Dynasty is just having a hugely efficient game, and these receivers are really showing up for them.
And that brings us to the end of an exciting first quarter of action. Atlanta leads Charleston 7-0, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. My name is Cameron Duty. I'm with my partner, John Warren, and I just want to say a great big thank you to our stats crew, Robert Garrett Jr. and Declan O'Rourke and Cameron Irvine back at SFL headquarters. So the start of the second quarter. We've had action on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Now, let's take a look at Dynasty rolling out. He throws the pass. It's intercepted midair. An incredible reception that was kept alive by the tip by the intended receiver. And coming down with it is Corey Minner.
Corey Minner just has a head on a swivel, tip drill. It was tipped in the air by Henry McGee, not brought in. And Minner just super aware, able to reel that in, and that's a huge momentum shift, right? Atlanta felt like it had all the momentum in the world. Their defense is stopping Charleston. Now Charleston's got some momentum now at the beginning of the second quarter. John Lakeman and this team in business.
And that is Corey Minner's first interception of the season. And now Charleston gets the turnover that they need. We'll see if they can get their offense rolling. Good defensive pressure that time. Jars that one free of Honus Odaby.
Yeah, Lakeman had a receiver just super open in the slot. Probably wishes he had that one back, but thought Honus Odaby would be able to reel that in, and unfortunately it drops to the ground.
Second and 10 now on the way. As we said, Charleston, they've moved the ball pretty well at times, but they haven't seen any points yet. That pass off the mark, intended for number 88, Xavier Solomon.
That was intended for Xavier Solomon, but I don't know about you, Cameron. It looked like he got tackled before he was able to reel that in. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't see a flag there, but be that as it may, it's 3rd and 10. This is a big 3rd and 10 for Charleston.
Well, it looked like a little bit of extracurricular activity did take place there indeed, and went unnoticed by the refs down on the field. 3rd and 10 now coming up. As you said, big play for Charleston. There is a flag, and it's intercepted, and it's going the other way, and it's going to be taken to the house by Grant Hardaway. We will see if it stands.
Check the flag, but that was a huge pick six if it stands. Personal foul clipping on Charleston. This is going to stand.
It's going to stand, and the ref turned the opposite way from the camera. A little bit humor-like there. I love that.
You got to find the hard cam, ref.
There
find
you
the
go.
Hard cam.
But Atlanta now goes up by 2 scores. We're not going to get a chance to see a replay of that, but that was some beautiful stuff. And Hardaway comes away with a huge play, and that his first INT of the year and his first pick six of the season. The extra point is good by Sammy Steele, and we are off and running here in Atlanta, John. Let's catch our breath for a minute.
Yeah, that's some wild and woolly action. That is, by my notes, Atlanta Swarm's first defensive touchdown of the season. Could not have come at a better time. This is kind of a must-win game for Atlanta and their business. Second interception for Lakeman in this game. That one going for an interception, for a touchdown. Not a good start for Charleston's team.
Ian Francis brings that one out to the 25-yard line. Now let's just go ahead and put you, John, under the headset, if you will. You're the coach of the team. What do you tell your guys? You're down by 2 here. What do you tell them to kind of rally the troops?
Well, my game plan shifts a little bit. Nick Hogle and Saren Storm have really not gotten a lot of attention here, and even Sutherland and Brad Taylor Wright have been impressive in stretches. So I would lean on this backfield. You got to
Oh,
calm down.
Take a look
That's
at that.
a great catch.
A great catch indeed by Benjamin Warner, who has been the target thus far this entire game that he has looked for. And let's call that the nice hands catch. Brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it, SFL 4K23.
Yeah, Warner and Davius Reed all season have been Lakeman's go-to. They're both hovering around 630, 650 yards for the season. They're both very impressive. It's just the turnovers. That's been the killer for Charleston.
How they tossed it out of the backfield to the halfback, Saren Storm, and nothing there. Great open field tackle by Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of evidence that Atlanta is expecting big runs here. Like they've got this pass game kind of scouted. Hand the ball off. Like let's try to get some yardage. Try to make these second downs and third downs a little bit shorter and manageable.
Something they definitely need to improve on. As you see, rushing yards per game, just about 88 for Charleston. They don't go there that often. Now, that pass, they live and die by the offense. That could explain a lot of the turnovers that we see as well. Davius Reed with the reception. They just like to air it out and gun it, don't they?
They do. And I mean, with Davius Reed and Benjamin Warner, I get it. It's just that the decision-making, the folding under pressure, Lakeman is obviously a skilled quarterback. You have to be in this league, but his turnovers are just killer. But yeah, Benjamin Warner and Davius Reed, two really impressive receivers.
The pass incomplete. That looked like it had a little bit of handsy activity as well.
Again,
the refs are letting them play today. Solomon, the intended target there, but really letting them get pretty physical out there, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Solomon has been kind of mugged on a couple of passes here, but the refs have kind of let them play. So that's an interesting development.
2nd and 10 as we now have a man in motion, and that is Davius Reed. Making note that he goes to the bottom of the screen. Will John Lakeman look his way? The throw? He does, and rightfully so. A beautiful reception, then shrugs off a would-be defender. It gets a couple more yards for a big-time first down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's so impressive about Davius Reed, just getting into space and making people miss after the catch. He's just a really, really skilled receiver. Look at that stiff arm and kind of a juke on Moose Papineau there, making him look silly. That was a really impressive play. So Charleston now within the red zone. They've got to convert this to a touchdown.
He was telling Papineau to get out of his way, and that he did. 1st and 10, Charleston now best drive of the game. Another great reception by Odeby, and finally, for all you Charleston fans out there, your team, they've woken up.
Yeah, what a catch by Honus Adobe, and Chris Henry was there to make sure that was not a touchdown. So really good effort from Chris Henry there, but maybe a better effort for Honus Adobe to hold on to that catch.
1st and goal now for Charleston. We've talked about how important it is for their postseason hopes, for what this season means to them, to claw their way back into this game. They're trying to do just that on 1st and goal here. Lakeman to throw to the end zone over the head of the intended target. That was Warner he was looking for. He did have him wide open. The pass just wasn't there.
Yeah, Shot Allen got his hands up. He is tied for 2nd on this team with interceptions with 3, and almost had another one there, but got his hands up. And Shot Allen is just one of the leaders on this Atlanta Swarm defense.
He's going to keep an eye out for Shot Allen for sure when you play against this Atlanta defense. 2nd and goal now, back to the drawing board. This time they keep it on the ground. Just what they needed. Nick Hoagland in for the touchdown.
Nick Hoagland, I'm telling you got to start handing the ball off. I don't think Atlanta is really expecting a lot of activity from this backfield in traditional run plays. Hoagland had just look at that space. If that had been in, not the red zone, that would have gone for 10, 12, 15 yards at least. There was just no one around him. That was a touchdown. It had to happen for Charleston, and it's a good thing that they got points on the board here on that drive.
Indeed, that is Hoagland's 6th touchdown of the season. The extra point is good. So Brad Brichette knocks that one through, and Charleston, as we said, within 7. Folks, if you're liking the game so far, smash that like button if you will, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The SFL produces over 400 events a year. There is no one else that gives you more football. Don't miss a minute of SFL or SFLM action, and help the channel grow through your support. And with the kneel down, Atlanta will bring it out to the 20. Some big news coming out of the SFLM earlier today, as it was announced the Albuquerque Adams and the Nashville Tempo would be coming up to play in the pros next year. Big stuff, right?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the SFLM is so much fun. You get to see kind of the future of the SFL, and now these teams kind of coming into the SFL majors. So exciting. Yeah, it's a really good time to be plugged into the league.
The future is bright in the SFL. The handoff to Hollywood really goes nowhere. A good job of Brown on the stop, 1-yard gain.
Yeah, and I would just say, in addition, I called most weeks of the SFLM this past season. If you're not paying attention to that, you're not paying attention to the future of the SFL. We have so many players in the league this year that came from the SFLM, had huge careers there. It's a really great part of the league, so I invite you to keep your eye on that as well.
Indeed. Dynasty to throw. The pass is complete. Again, looking for that big linebacker right there, number 85. Talon Steele with the first down. Take a look at this again on this replay. John, what do you see here? What do you like?
Well, I see Talon Steele moonlighting as a power forward for the Atlanta Hawks, but right there, he just gets into space and puts his body in front of that ball. No one's going to knock the ball out from Talon Steele. He's got this bear trap of a grip, so really impressive play by the tight end.
3 receptions for 39 yards so far for Talon Steele on 4 targets. And let's just go ahead and take a look at the other tight end, or excuse me, wide receiver that is. That's K. Marion getting in on the action once more.
Yeah, K. Marion will likely, I'm going to go out on a limb right now, bold prediction, will likely break the 1,000-yard mark for the season in this game. She had 912 coming into the season, into this game, and is well on her way with 29 yards on 2 catches.
And a lot of football left to be played, just as you said, John.
Yep.
Good job by Marion there, as we see a little bit of motion, and that is Marion going from bottom of the screen up to the top.
No one on her.
And yeah, exactly. Unguarded. The play clock running down. They do keep it on the ground. A nice juke move by Jason Williams. Stays on his feet. Spin move. Still stays on his feet. Across the 20 down to about the 18-yard line. Another first down, and this Atlanta Swarm offense is looking dangerous.
Well, I was just about to say they should have audibled out of that and try to get K. Marion, but you know what? What do I know? That's why I don't have the headset down on the sideline. They kept it going. K. Marion with an outstanding block to spring Jason Williams there on the outside. That was a great run play.
John, that's why we are up here and
that's why we are up here. You're absolutely right.
1st and 10. We're closing in on 5 minutes left in this first half. The pitch left side to Hollywood, breaks the first tackle, but is quickly blanketed after a 3-yard gain.
But I like continuing to get this backfield involved. I know Charleston's got to, keep them honest. Bryant Dynasty is having a really efficient game. The balance of Atlanta has been the strength so far, not only in this game, but this season. So it's a tough assignment for any defense.
2nd and 7 now, as they send Mitchell O'Brien, who has 1 touchdown in the game already, sending him in motion. But they do keep it on the ground to Williams. Spins out of a tackle, gets to the 10, stays on his feet, and gets the first down and then some. And you know what? Let's go ahead and say it here, John. Atlanta, they're trying to stop a 3-game losing streak. This is the best that we have seen them probably in about 4 weeks. They look so on target here.
They look great, and that's a really great replay. Thank you so much for the replay crew. Mitchell O'Brien kind of showing everyone is kind of like on 11 right now. They're on their individual effort game. They know they've got to win this game. They're coming off of 3 losses, like you said, kicked off by that heartbreaker against the undefeated Florida Storm. And they're coming to play today to correct the record, get on a nice change, and try to get into the playoffs.
playoff implications on the line for both of these teams. And as you mentioned, Atlanta, bye week next week. They got to win today. Another nice play, just a nice effective pickup after a reception by Wanot Erlet, and they're getting closer to that end zone.
Yeah, Erlet with 2 catches today. Only had 7 catches coming into this game. Look at that Bryant Dynasty line. He had that interception, but 12 of 15 is just an outstanding line against this defense.
There's not much you can say about that. That's just great. Take a look at Hollywood powering through a hole when there really wasn't one there. Busts his way through and gets the touchdown. Atlanta back up by 2 scores.
Hall of Famer has a nose for the end zone. Six touchdowns so far. That was his 7th. Just kept his legs churning. Dragged a defender into the end zone. Atlanta should be very happy to be scoring 21 points against a stout run defense at Charleston.
That was some stout defense right there, trying to keep Hollywood out of the end zone. Just not enough. He had all the momentum, and so Sammy still comes on now to attempt the extra point. As we said, that will put them up by 14. And the kick is good. We expected nothing less. A great offensive drive. Once again, another methodical, effective drive of 8 plays, about 80 yards on that one. And John, Charleston right now, they're going to have to be prepared to put up points every time they touch the football.
Yeah, and you start to get a little bit nervous, right? If Charleston gets behind, that means that Lakeman's got to throw the ball more, take more chances. That could lead to more interceptions. So let's keep an eye on that story, because they've got to really, I think, keep it calm. Don't abandon their game plan. Get the run game involved a little bit. Try to score on this drive. Make it a 1-score game. Don't panic yet, because I think panic leads to some tightness, leads to mistakes.
Yeah.
Just take a breath and try to stick to your game plan.
Let's call it calm. Let's see, what can we call it? Calm urgency.
Calm urgency. I like it.
1st and 10 on the 26-yard line by Lakeman and company here, wanting to get a score before the end of the half. 3:28 left. Lakeman to throw. That could have been easily intercepted. It was intended for Warner, and he got laid out after that.
Yeah, Chris Henry was there right at the point of attack and just really laid the wood there on Warner and broke up that ball. Or was that Jonas Adobe? I can't remember.
2nd and 10 now coming up on the 26-yard line. Man in motion, that is Warner, John. As you see top of his screen, they're giving him a lot of room right there to work with. Lakeman now to step up, and he's going to run. He gets the 1st down. He slides, and he holds on to the football. That's a big thing. 1st and 10 now coming up. Fresh set of downs. Nice awareness.
Yeah, they didn't like, I guess he didn't like what he saw. And yeah, even though he had Warner in kind of right at the line to gain there on the sideline, didn't like what he saw, decided to take a run, and ended up being good. Picked up about 11 on the play and moves the sticks.
1st and 10 with 3 minutes remaining now in this first half. It's been an exciting first half. Don't let the score fool you. There's been a lot of action on both sides of the football. And that is Davius Reed now in motion. Pressure coming. He throws over the middle. Intended for Reed. And there is the INT. We've talked about it. It's so dangerous, so deadly for this Charleston team. Chris Henry spoiling their party.
I mean, no one really, I find it hard to identify a better ball hawking safety than Chris Henry. That's his 6th interception of the season. And you knew he'd probably have one against Lakeman. Lakeman a little interception prone. And this is just, again, every time I've called a Charleston game, it is turnovers that is the make or break between winning and losing for Lakeman and the Predators.
Atlanta now. Maybe even sniffing a little bit of blood in the water, perhaps, if they can put some points up here before the end of this first half. That could be huge in their chances. Again, we talked about how important it is for them, for both these teams to win. They, as we said, have an off week next week, so they need to go out with a W and see how the cards play out for them.
Yeah, and Atlanta's got, they've only got half the field here. I mean, they can really afford to stick to their balance and probably still run out the clock on the half and put some points on the board, not give Charleston a lot of time to respond.
2nd and 7, as you see clock continuing to run here. 2:19 and counting. And again, as you said, methodical, just taking their time. That's Dynasty. The throw pressure was coming. He gets rid of it. That is intended for K. Marion, but a nice defensive play by Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Brian Dynasty had some time, but a little bit of congestion back there. He was pressured a bit, and you could kind of see it in the release. It was kind of an unsure release and not a well-targeted ball. So the pressure for Charleston got to Brian Dynasty on that play.
3rd and 7, 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen and 2 up top. We know what they're going to do. Nobody in the backfield. They're going to the air. Dynasty to throw. Plenty of time over the middle to Marion, and the drive will continue down just outside the 20-yard line.
And I think a big failure on Charleston's part, only a 3-man rush. So really no pressure on Brian Dynasty, but usually what that means is you've got a lot of defenders, filling gaps, on those routes. Instead, it was kind of almost a loose prevent zone that allowed for some of that underneath play there, and that was easy first down.
2 minutes remain in this first half. Atlanta again on the move. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. Cameron Duty here with John Warren, and we are excited to be here at the Hive in Atlanta today. And it's been all Atlanta for this first half. Another run that time by Hollywood, picks up 6.
Yeah, it's good draw play. Obviously, Charleston expecting a pass because Brian Dynasty's just been in such a rhythm. Instead, they handed off to BGG Hollywood on the delay, and it was a nice six-yard gain.
2nd down, toss play right side to Williams, and almost was stopped in the backfield, but stays on his feet and gets the first down. Let's dissect that. That could have been huge. I mean, huge if they'd been able to stop him in the backfield. It didn't happen. Instead, he turns that into a first down.
Yeah, I got kind of gator arms there in the backfield, just missed the wrap-up. And that was probably, for a lot of players, an easy wrap-up and loss. But against Jason Williams is an impressive runner, just kept his legs moving, and, broke the tackle and got the first down.
Atlanta, they don't want a field goal. They want a touchdown here. Hollywood with the reception, shrugs a tackle and gets the touchdown. And that was huge for the Atlanta Swarm's chances. They go up by 3 scores before we get to halftime.
Almost a casual day at the office for BGG Hollywood. I mean, we've seen it so many times in his career, but caught that in the flat and just decided, hey, I'm going to do some individual effort stuff that only Hall of Famers can do. Look at that shake. That was an impressive broken tackle against a good tackling cornerback and Mark Martin. They broke that tackle, scored a touchdown. Atlanta up big here with 1.5 minutes left to go in the half.
A little shake, rattle, and roll right there. And with the extra point, Sammy Steele could make this a 3-score game, and he does. And again, let's go back to this, John. Charleston, there's not been this urgency. We haven't felt that intensity from them that we have in Atlanta thus far.
No, I mean, Atlanta is very clearly playing for their season. And you can see it in the way that they've been playing. They're playing with kind of a confidence that you would not expect from a team that has lost 3 games in a row. But they know they've got to win this one. And it's against a Charleston team that's just so up and down that they must have felt like they could kind of push them around, and so far they have.
Charleston, and let's highlight this season for Charleston. Started off rough. They lost 4 straight, but then they've reeled off 5 wins out of their next 6, putting them in this 5-5 situation heading into today's game. And as you said, it's been up and down, but they really, for the most part, as we said, they have won. It makes you wonder, John, if maybe the pressure they put themselves in early on, losing 4 straight, and then knowing they had to practically win out for a chance of the postseason, hasn't drained them.
Yeah, it puts them in a hole. It puts them in a totally different mindset. They've won 5 of the last 6. But, yeah, they clearly don't feel confident today, it seems like.
Hoagland with the run. We haven't seen much of Hoagland in today's game, and they will call a timeout. And you got to think right here, you may see a little bit of no huddle. You may see them go, to down the field a couple of times, take a few shots. You about have to. In order to stay right in this game, it's important that they get a score of some sort before half.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Charleston's strength of victory is actually very impressive. I mean, their wins have come against some pretty good teams.
The pass complete. That is to big number 88, Xavier Solomon. He gets a few. 3rd and 5. He gets pushed out of bounds, so they won't have to burn a timeout there.
Yeah, that's a good call by Solomon to get out of bounds. Yeah, I mean, really, I know it's, the Lycans and the Queen City Corsairs has been 2 of the 5 victories that Charleston has had, but Seattle, Carolina, Houston, these are playoff-bound teams for the most part that they've had these victories against, and that's impressive. So they got to look at those and look at the blueprint for that to meet the challenge of the Atlanta Swarm.
Honus Odeby moving to the top of the screen. 3 wide receivers now at the top. As Lakeman to throw. That is tipped. That was dangerous. And that falls to the ground. 4th and 5 coming up. And a good play by Grant Hardaway.
Yeah, Hardaway with that interception already got his hand up to tip that one and create a tip drill scenario. Lucky for John Lakeman that was not also picked off, but they're going to have to punt.
They will punt with Eric Blueberry here, who we have seen earlier in this game. He gets a good punt off, definitely doing his part to try to pin him back. But take a look at this, a potential big-time return shaping up here by Henry McGee, and that's going to give them good field position. And with 54 cents, if you're Atlanta, just think of what you could do if you get some points here.
Yeah, certainly what it does is it gives Atlanta some options, right? They could decide to kind of see what happens on 1st and 2nd down before they commit to a kind of a more aggressive game plan, but they've got options. If they had been stopped back there at about the 25 where received that punt, that's a different story.
Now that makes a big difference because now all of a sudden you're talking field goal range. It's not out of the equation either. If they could just get the field goal range, tack on 3 more before heading into the half, Atlanta would be sitting pretty, let's say prettier. Right now they're doing a pretty good job of maintaining and managing this game. The handoff to Hollywood, gain of 6, 2nd and 4. You mentioned they may look at the run here and see how aggressive they want to be. Charleston not yet calling a timeout.
Yeah, not yet. They're almost at midfield, though, so they've got, again, some options. Let's see what Brian Dynasty calls up. It looks like another run, but we'll see what they decide.
30 seconds and counting in this first half. They do go back to the ground with Jason Williams, who gets a few. I think they're going to give him maybe 1 or so. 3rd and 3. Again, Charleston deciding against calling a timeout here. Obviously, they just want to run the clock out, it seems, and it looks like that's what Atlanta wants to do for the most part.
Well, they're up by 3 scores, so it's a little hard to fault their game plan, right? I mean, it seems like everything is going right for them so far, so it makes a little bit of sense.
Why push it? But they do decide to go to the air here to Dynasty. The pass incomplete to Marion. That will end the first half, but hey, why not take a shot at it? There was nothing there. First half comes to a close, and it was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. It is now 28-7. A lot of scoring that second quarter. Atlanta now beginning to pull away from this Charleston Predators team. We welcome you to the SFL on YouTube halftime report. John, give us your thoughts on this first half. A difference of 2 quarters indeed.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I mean, points off turnover is really the brutal thing. I mean, they're 3 touchdowns, including a pick 6, directly in response to the turnovers that Charleston has made. It's made the biggest difference in this game. Atlanta playing with a lot of confidence that you would not expect again from a team that just lost 3 in a row. But here they are. They're at home. They're showing out for their home fans. They're trying to win this game and give them a shot to get, to sneak into the playoffs.
And Atlanta, as you said, a chance to sneak into the playoffs. They really are doing all that they can do. Folks, thank you so much for being with us today. We've had a blast. We know the second half is going to be exciting as well. My name is Cameron Duty. I'm I'm with John Warren, Robert Garrett Jr., and Declan O'Rourke in the stats truck, and Cameron Irvine back at SFL headquarters. We thank you for continuing to watch today's coverage between Charleston and Atlanta. Let's see what this second half has to offer. This is Ian Francis with the return out to the 24-yard line, and it's imperative here. You got to come away with some points, as we said, just about on every single opportunity that you touch the football if you're Charleston, but definitely starting out here.
Yeah, I mean, I oddly enough, 28 points on the board. It's hard to say that Charleston's defense is doing great, but they've also had these kind of short field situations. They've been on the field a lot in this game, so it's not all Charleston's defense. It's a lot of those turnovers creating 21 points for Atlanta. It's really tough to overcome that, so Lakeman's got to play a half of mistake-free football.
They've sent Davius Reed in motion, and that is exactly where Lakeman goes, and a nice reception and yards after the catch. Again, talk about some positive yardage, some good tempo, some good vibes. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, you get the sense that Lakeman's got to basically look for Davius Reed or Benjamin Warner. If he doesn't like those reads, he's got to check down, go to the flag, go to a safe throw, maybe even throw the ball away. Just don't make mistakes, because the mistakes have led to points for Atlanta, and that's just going to kill them if that keeps happening.
We mentioned how this Charleston team is so pass-oriented. We didn't see much of the ground game. We probably won't now either after being down 3 scores. That pass out of the backfield to Hoagland, that goes for a few 2nd and 8. But yeah, this pretty much makes them one-dimensional.
It does, but I have to say I like that call, because Lakeman checked down to Hoagland. He didn't like what he saw downfield. Don't force something, because forcing something is going to create the turnover. So, you just go to the next play, try to make something happen in the new play.
Benjamin Warner now up to the top of the screen there. Again, these men who have went in motion for Charleston, Lakeman has looked that way, and he does again. Close to midfield there, picks up a couple of yards, and 3rd and 4 coming up. And like they said, they got to convert here. I would almost say this is 4-down territory.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously conventional wisdom would tell you that it's probably too early for that, but I agree. I mean, you've really got to make something happen on this drive, otherwise it's going to be really, really tough to come back.
Lakeman to throw, and it just wasn't there. The communication was off, looking for Benjamin Warner, and it falls to the ground, incomplete.
Yeah, that looked like a really awkward exchange there. I'm not sure if there was confusion on the route, but they opt not to go for it on 4th down. Instead, they're going to punt it away, try to pin him deep.
Blueberry to punt. He's been putting off some really good kicks, trying to pin this team deep. Another good kick, and this time, though, unfortunately, it does once again bounce into the end zone for the touchback. So Atlanta will start at their 20. But, yeah, the offensive woes continue for Charleston, and we await this Charleston offense waking up and getting on the same page. And in the meanwhile, as you mentioned, John, it's this defense that has to try to carry the mail, so to speak.
Well, and the really big problem for Charleston's defense is now with this kind of lead, BDG Hollywood and Jason Williams can kind of take over if Atlanta chooses to go that route.
They send Kyle Fenimore in motion. And Bryant Dynasty to throw. The pass off his hands. It was in the area of a couple of Predator defenders there, but they weren't able to come down with it for the turnover. Instead, it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, kind of a risky pass, actually, from Bryant Dynasty. What you don't want to do if you're Atlanta is make risky passes and turn the ball over and give Charleston a short field.
So 2nd down and 10 on the way. We have 2 receivers to the top of your screen. Now, as we say that, they send Kay Marion to the bottom of the screen. Marion in her first season, by the way, here with Atlanta after spending 7 previous. They're coming, and Dynasty down on the ground. The first time all day long the defense does get home, and that's Khalil Thomas.
Khalil Thomas's second sack of the season could not have come at a better time, because really they'd not been able to get any sort of pressure on Bryant Dynasty, and really until that play, and wrapped him up there. I mean, that could have been an even worse play. Bryant Dynasty lucky to hold on to the ball, but now 3rd and 15. They've got to pass the ball here and try to make something happen.
Yep, and you can see no intentions of playing it safe and staying on the ground. It's 3rd and 15. They are going to the air. They're sending K. Marion in motion out to the right side here, and we'll see what this Charleston defense, or can they do anything to stop this Atlanta team and get off the field, and they do. The pass deflected, and it falls to the ground, an incompletion there thanks to Adam Nold.
Yeah, Nold actually had really the angle on that ball. Brian Dicey's lucky that wasn't going the other way. But, that could not have gone better for Charleston. We talked about this defense. It's really not the defense's fault, really, that Atlanta's put 28 on the board. They've been okay. It's just that they've been on the field so much.
So once again, the punter hangs this one high. Charleston should get some good field position here as Francis returns it across the 50 down to the 48-yard line. And yeah, the defense certainly did their part, John. And now you take a look at this offense, as we said, they're pretty much going to be pass heavy here, and that's really what they have to rely on. Yeah,
I mean, Charleston is fully capable of taking this ball 48 yards for a touchdown, and that's what they've got to do. They had a long drive earlier. It was an impressive drive. This is a much shorter field, and they've got to convert to stay in this game.
Sending Odeby in motion once more. Instead, Lakeman throws to Hoagland out of the backfield. Spin tackle. Gets a really good chunk of yardage there after the contact. 9-yard gain.
But it's the right read. I mean, that's to me so far the difference between the first half and the second half. Lakeman making the smart read, checking down, getting these backfield receivers involved to not make a big risky play.
And they're sending pressure. They keep it on the ground, and there is nothing there for Saren Storm to work with.
Yeah, just swallowed up. Just too congested. Not enough push on the offensive line to make anything happen there. And manageable 3rd and 1, but it's a big 3rd and 1. I mean, again, you think it's 4-down territory. We'll see what they dial up here.
3rd and 1 indeed. They keep it on the ground. It's a toss play, and they're not going to get it. Completely swarmed, and I don't mean that in a punning, or I guess you'd say a pun intention there. That is Jeff Spicoli in on that tackle.
Well, they got stung on that play, and pun was intended because that was just, a bad read. Nick Hoagland could have actually bounced inside and probably got that first down, but instead bounced to the outside, got swallowed up, and they punted again.
It was a good job of that Atlanta defense making a beeline, pun intended,
to
the halfback. And nevertheless, for Charleston, they do have to punt it away. This time, though, a good job of kind of getting them pinned deep there in their own territory. They will start from the 9-yard line.
Yeah, it's the old coffin corner, putting Atlanta back on the 9. 91 yards to go to pay dirt. So, yeah, that's a tall order.
The handoff now to BDG Hollywood. He doesn't get much before being wrapped up. And you can tell there, Jack Brown in on the tackle. But you can see that, John, the defense is really putting up a fight here and trying to pin these guys deep this second half.
Yeah, Charleston's defense just seems more energized in this half. And they made a couple of adjustments. And Jack Brown obviously is a leader on this defense. And they look better now.
Yeah, they do. Now, a nice job of running by Mitchell O'Brien, getting a carry out of the backfield. He gets a gain of about 8 or so. They're going to give him 3rd and 2 on the way.
Yeah, it was good blocking, just a good call. But also a good job by Jacob Clear to wrap him up before the first down, setting up a really crucial 3rd and short here for the Charleston defense.
Yep, indeed. A crucial one coming up, folks. Take a listen as the crowd behind the Atlanta Swarm here, cheering them on to get this first down. Play Hall folks are certainly hanging in the balance for both teams tonight. They keep it on the ground to Hollywood, who gets the first down and moves the chains, and the drive continues. And now also, John, let's mention how the clock will continue to run. That's less time that Charleston would even have to get the ball back to make a, I guess what you would say, a comeback.
Yeah, that feels like a killer first down. So really nice job for BG Hollywood to get that. Matt Ryan just a little too late to make that tackle. And you're right, they keep the clock running. And see, even though it's the third quarter, this deficit is just too big.
Hollywood, or no, I'm sorry, that actually was Jason Williams on the carry, and a good tackle by number 28, John Stamango. Stamango, all 7 seasons in the SFL have been played right here in Charleston. He is a former SFL All-Star. On second down, they again stay on the ground to Hollywood, weaving his way through traffic and picking up crucial yards, because although it seemed like he could have been taken down at the line of scrimmage, he turns nothing into something, and a manageable third down on the way.
Yeah, Atlanta, though, you could see they're plainly in clock burning mode. They know that they've got Charleston on the ropes. Giving them less time is their game plan right now.
Dynasty to throw. That pass is complete to K. Marion. Another first down, moving the ball at ease as they have this entire game. And you see the crowd reaction. They know what could be lying ahead for them at the end of this game, a W.
Yeah, they do. And K. Marion, just a really, really impressive game so far. That does put her, I believe, above the 1,000-yard mark for the season on that catch. Actually, I think she's just a couple away from that. So maybe one more catch, but just an impressive game for her so far.
Hollywood with a couple more there, 2nd and 3. And we said just continuing to milk the clock. And obviously this Charleston defense starting to get gassed. But you know what, though? This Atlanta team, they continue to play the way that they are simply because they know, hey, we have got an off week next week, but we need to keep our skills sharpened here. That's why you continue to see them with their foot on the gas.
Absolutely.
And they do stay on the ground that time, and it doesn't go very far, 3rd and 7. But, you know, again, this is why you'll see them continue to air it out on these third downs, keep these drives alive. And you got to keep your chops up to par.
Absolutely. And you know what? They better double K. Marion. Otherwise, this is going right to her. I just feel it. You know, she's big target, the most productive target on this offense on the receiving side.
Nobody in the backfield, and Dynasty to throw the pass complete. They target Fenimore.
Kyle Fenimore.
Fenimore, yeah, getting the first down again, extending the drive, and it continues here for Atlanta.
Wow, what a huge game Kyle Fenimore is also having. Just knew he was going to get smacked on that play by Sam Blotner, one of the hardest hitters in the SFL. Still hung on to the ball, and wow, what a conversion.
Clock continuing to run now in a third quarter that has been predominantly carried here by Atlanta. Another reception by Marion. That will put her over the 1,000-yard mark, as you mentioned, John, and in fine fashion.
Absolutely. Just a wonderful play and run after catch. And that absolutely, undoubtedly puts her over the 1,000-yard mark. She's got 102 yards receiving today. What a season she's had. Atlanta can look back, if they do manage to sneak into the playoffs, they can look at her contributions and really thank her for getting them over that hump.
One thing is for certain, no matter how this season ends, they got to be proud of the fight that this team has shown, especially coming out here tonight in a game when they needed it so desperately. Now, we see a man going in motion there to the top of the screen. That's Talon Steele. That name's been called a couple of times. They keep it on the ground, 2nd and 8. And while we wait, let's mention real quick, folks, that the 24 SFL convention is headed to South Shore Harbor Resort in League City, Texas. That's just south of Houston, July 12th through the 14th, featuring live games, flag football, a golf tournament, tailgate, pool party, and more. For all the convention details, visit simulationfl.net/news/convention to reserve your room, see the event schedule, that and much, much more. And as Cameron Irvine said today, maybe even some basketball hoops if a basketball court is near the resort. So that might be fun.
Yeah, you get to see Steph Mild Curry doing his crossover out there.
3rd and 6 now on the way. We certainly did have fun in our little meeting before, didn't we, talking sports with Cam. That was enjoyable. Dynasty to throw. The pass is complete to Marion, and they just keep their foot on the gas. They keep their foot on Charleston's throat, and they could seal the deal right here with a touchdown.
Just absolutely crushing Charleston on time of possession, and it's just disheartening, right? These two, the first and second down, these kind of freebie, like, okay, like we're going to get 2, 3, 4 yards, sure, whatever, but they're automatically converting on 3rd down on this drive, and it's just such a backbreaker for this Charleston defense.
The 3rd down conversion ratio plus the points off turnover for Atlanta will make all the difference in the final score of this game, and Hollywood would not be denied. Touchdown Atlanta. They go up 34-7 with an extra point pending.
E.G. Hollywood, living legend, could not be denied, would not go down, even though he was wrapped up by Khalil Thomas. Didn't matter. They're running away with this one. This Atlanta crowd is rocking here in the Hive, and they ought to be. Their team really showed up today and said, hey, we belong in the playoffs. We know we got to win this one, and they are beating the brakes off the Charleston Predators.
A little bit of seismic activity here, the rumble here in the Hive that is just off the chains, the decibel level. It's high. The extra point is good. They lead 35-7, and quickly let me point out that total play stat that came through up there. 55 total plays for Atlanta to Charleston's 38, John.
Yeah, it was nearly a 6-minute drive. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, if you end a 6-minute drive with a touchdown and you're already up by 3 scores, like that's just so disheartening. Lakeman now is going to have to just air it out constantly, and we've talked about it. That's where they get in the most trouble. So it's kind of academic at this point, but we'll see what happens with Charleston's play calling here for the rest of the game.
Ian Francis with the return. He's done a nice job of setting Charleston up with pretty good field position the entire night. Let's give a nod to him too. The thing about it is that's just not been able to be converted into points. And the fact is, we mentioned the end of that first quarter, John, it was 7-0. Atlanta up just by 7, and we're sitting here thinking this Charleston offense is going to wake up, but we really never did see it.
No, we never saw it. The turnovers too much, the inconsistency too much, not getting the backfield in play. It's not a solid game plan, and the execution was also a problem for Charleston so far.
John Lakeman on tonight's game, he is actually 14 for 28, 186 yards, but 3 interceptions, and that's just been the killer all season long.
Yeah, it has. Atlanta made them pay in every single one of those turnovers as well, which is also kind of the difference maker all season for Charleston. The up and down turnovers really have been the problem for Charleston.
Lakeman now airing that one out, just trying to go deep, trying to find something, trying to find some connection again to Benjamin Warner, and that is going to be his 10th target. He's only got 5 receptions on the day. Third and 10 now coming up, 13 seconds remaining in this third quarter. And Charleston knows they need to convert this one bad. They send Ian Francis in motion. 2 receivers lined up on either side of quarterback Lakeman, 1 man in the backfield. Pump fake, and down he goes. That gave just enough time for big man Leo Jefferson to get home.
Bless his heart, John Lakeman, I think, is trying now to not turn the ball over. He doesn't want to force something, so he held on to that one, was looking for something to develop downfield, and got just devoured by Leo Jefferson there. That was just a big hit.
We go to the fourth quarter. Atlanta leads 35-7. We'll be right back after these league rights.
The station of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. And if you're looking for music, if you're an Atlanta fan, may we suggest a celebration by Kool and the Gang, because your team is up 35-7 as we begin this fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's just they got the party started now. I mean, they could crack open a cold one, enjoy the rest of their Friday evening, because this is just 9 minutes and 50 seconds of celebration here, unless something really goes sideways for Atlanta.
Just a great note that has been passed along to us. Tulsa leading right now 41-20 over San Diego in the fourth quarter, 5:23 left. The Desperados have got such a large lead, and because of that, it has taken Manning off of the all-time record watch, still sitting on 7 receptions for 285 yards. The all-time record is DR Sims with 377. So that, of course, at the moment looks to be maybe on the hiatus, on the back burner because of the large lead. But that is Tulsa leading 41-20 as the final minutes tick off of that fourth quarter. And again, here at Atlanta, you see it has been all swarm all day long.
Yes, it has.
Second down, and that is BDG Hollywood, who gets a couple, 3rd and 7 coming up for Atlanta. Charleston needing to make the stop in the most desperate of ways here. Now at this point, just to get some points on the board and get some momentum, because unlike Atlanta, who doesn't have a game next week, Charleston, they got to go back and they got to play again next week and figure out these issues.
Yeah, they do. They've got to. Whoop. Ooh, that was a nice play.
Yeah, absolutely. A great job by guess who, John?
Kay Marion. Another huge catch for her. Well, Charleston, you're right. They've got 2 more games on the schedule. Well, they've got 1 more game on the schedule after this week. But they've got to reevaluate. They've got to take some stock over what they are excelling at. Their defense has got to make stops. Their offense cannot turn the ball over anymore. They got to get their backfield a little bit more involved. There's some real talent back there. They just don't lean on them historically, and that's when they can get in trouble.
Yeah, Charleston has lived and died by the offensive production in today's game, unfortunately. And that is BDG Hollywood again with the carry all that time, going nowhere, and Matt Ryan making the stop. So 2nd and 10, you can see there are more than content to try to burn some clock here in Atlanta at the Hive. The handoff looks like Williams has that one. Trying to find a hole, not much there. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Not much there. We'll see how aggressive Atlanta is here. We'll see if they try to get this first down on 3rd and 9, or they're just content to run the ball out and maybe punt. But empty backfield. We know what they're doing.
They are keeping their foot on the gas.
I love it.
Gotta love the aggression, don't you? I mean, it is.
I do.
It's something to enjoy as a football fan. Henry McGee in motion, and this is Dynasty standing in there, throwing. That is complete by Kay Marion. And how about that? The defender tried to bite on the pass to come up with the INT, and instead Marion comes down with it, and she has a 1st and goal.
I have no idea how this wasn't an interception. I want to take another look at this. Oh, just like misjudged and mistimed it by a nanosecond. And Kay Marion was there to benefit from the mistake. Got a really nice gain on that one. 1st and goal from about the 5.5-yard line. Look at that, 163 yards on the day for Kay Marion. What a game.
Incredible. And, it's hard to fault the Charleston defender. Really,
Gotta make
trying to
something
come up.
happen.
Yeah, trying to make something happen when there just was nothing there. This time, though, the defense does get home, stops BDG Hollywood behind the line of scrimmage. And yeah, like we said, I mean, this Charleston team, I didn't get the number, but somebody out there just trying to find some positive momentum somewhere.
Yeah, it's a tough. I mean, you just have to try to cause turnovers, and so you can't fault them at all. They have to go into that aggressive mode.
Hollywood running right side spin move, and finally does get wrapped down. It looked like that could have been maybe broken, but Matt Ryan secures the tackle, and it will be 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal, but obviously a chip shot field goal can add another 3 points to the board. That would make it a 31-point game, and obviously kind of any way they slice it, they're still in control.
Yeah, to the end zone, and they don't have to even worry about the end. Now, Fenimore with the touchdown. He's had a great game, and Atlanta, again, just cruising here in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, Cam Marion has had maybe the loudest game and the loudest season for sure, leading the team in both catch in all 3 major categories, receptions, yards, and TDs. But Kyle Fenimore has quietly had a really impressive game. That's only his 2nd touchdown of the season, but a really nice one to put Atlanta up 42, upcoming extra point here to 7. What a game Atlanta's had.
And the extra point by Sammy Steele is good. And another methodical drive, 9 plays, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, contributing to the cause. And Charleston now back to the drawing board. You know they would love to finally get something cooking on offense. As we said, we'll talk about it in just a moment too, that they've got more football to play and their season is not over yet.
No, it's not.
And we can expect Francis to keep this one actually in the end zone and come out to the 20-yard line. Now, talking about Charleston and their future, we said they've still got another game to go play, whereas Atlanta will sit and wait to see how the cards are dealt as they have the bye week next week. Charleston, though, has to go play a tough Minnesota
really tough
team.
Yeah, Minnesota's 8-2. They're really good at home. It's a huge game. Charleston's got to come correct. Otherwise, they may be in danger of missing the playoffs.
That pass off the hands of the intended target. And again, 2nd down coming up. And that's been a big problem, too, with the game tonight, John, is the fact that the passes haven't really been crisp and just been a little bit off the mark, haven't they? Not very efficient on either side.
No. Lakeman has just been off his game, completing only about 47% of his passes here. His 3 interceptions are killers. And, Atlanta's ready for it. Once they know that he's got to be throwing the ball downfield, they can adjust their defense and prepare for it.
And not to mention that we've seen some crucial drops as well. And again, interceptions. That has absolutely killed this Charleston team.
No way.
And look at Chris Henry to the end zone, touchdown, adding some insult to injury. That Charleston offensive squad could not bring Chris Henry down until he made it to the end zone. And a great touchdown by the strong safety, a former All-Star.
Insult to injury is right. That's one of the best returns for a touchdown on an interception I've ever seen. Look at all those broken tackles, finding the holes. It looked like BDG Hollywood right there, just finding the right angles. And another touchdown for Atlanta. This is a demoralizing blowout for a Charleston team that needed to win this game to kind of keep pace in the playoff race.
And this has literally turned into a rout. The extra point by Sammy Steele is good. Atlanta just shy of 50 points tonight. And Charleston, you see it right there on the bench, just trying to figure something out right now and nothing doing.
Yeah, the party has started here in the Hive. 42-point lead here for Atlanta with 6 minutes to go in the game, in their season, in their regular season. And boy, kind of no matter what happens, how the chips fall, Atlanta should be pretty excited going into next season or the playoffs with this kind of victory.
Yeah, and proud. Another statement there as Odeby brings it out to the 29-yard line. What a great note to end your regular season on. Take a look at this. Atlanta at the Hive, the largest win margin, 38 points versus Tulsa. Tonight, 42 points. So a historic night at the Hive indeed. And you are here to witness it, folks, watching at home on YouTube. And again, we thank you for being with us. And if you're an Atlanta fan, congratulations on a job well done. We'll take a look at some of the games in just a moment that will be taking place tomorrow around the SFL. After this play by Charleston, as they look to put some more points on the board. Lakeman to throw out of the backfield, and not much there. Gain of 2. Tomorrow night, the Baltimore Vultures and the DC Dragons renew their rivalry with major playoff implications at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in the nightcap, the Seattle Nemesis can clinch the Pacific Division with a win over Vancouver. I'm very excited to be a part of that call. Other matchups include Louisiana and Jacksonville and Motor City at Denver. Catch all the games right here on the SFL on YouTube. Lakeman stepping up, trying to make something happen. Does get some positive yards. 3rd and 4, the clock continuing to run.
Yeah, just shut it down, tuck the ball, and run. So it's not a bad call for John Lakeman to get the positive yardage there.
And now 3rd and 4, the throw over the middle. It is intercepted and going the other way. Have a day, Atlanta defense. That's Hardaway once again, and going to show why this defense is so dangerous.
Yeah, this Atlanta team is now just having some fun out there, batting their food around like a kitty cat, and it's not pleasant to see if you're a Charleston fan. But these interceptions have just doomed Lakeman and the Predators all season. Hardaway with another impressive one there. This is a rout.
I understand that Charleston is playing wounded tonight, obviously. But the fact is, if you are a team going into the postseason, if Atlanta does get in, keep your eyes on this team. They're playing really hot right now.
Yeah, momentum is huge.
Yeah, indeed. Hollywood with the run, a gain of 1. And now another stat passed along to us. This is the second time Atlanta has scored 49 points this season. The previous time was LA. So yeah, again, a little bit of a good stat right there. Thank you, by the way, Cam, to add to what we said. This team can put points up and they can be very dangerous.
Yeah, and this would be their largest margin of victory by far this year against a division rival, against a team that is risen to the challenge against some tough teams, but they're getting smoked right now by Atlanta.
3rd and 4 now coming up as the clock does continue to run. We take a look at a little. We'll go under I'll put the microscope up to us, as I guess is a good way to put it here, as we take a look at Atlanta's schedule and their season thus far. We mentioned 5-6. They lost 3 straight to very tough teams, to Houston at 6-4, Baltimore at 6-4, and of course Florida 10-0, and they had Florida on the ropes, John. Lost by 3, but they just about took down the Florida Storm, if that tells you what kind of a game they really can play at times. This handoff to Williams, it goes nowhere. 4th and 4. Nice tackle by Brown. So we will see if we will see a field goal attempt here. We would kind of expect to, I would think, coming up by Brad Britchett.
Yeah, and to your point, it really feels like that Florida Storm game that they lost by 3 points. That Florida Storm team just had a roaring comeback to win that game. It felt like almost that demoralized them for the next 2 games. They lost by 19 to Baltimore. They lost by 18 to Houston. Those are 2 really good teams, to be clear. But it felt like they needed to kind of get their legs back under them and get some confidence back. And wow, I don't know how you couldn't say that they've gotten their confidence back after seeing what they've done to Charleston tonight.
So they decide to punt it, and it will a coffin kick there of sorts, and Charleston will start at the 11-yard line with 3 minutes and 7 seconds to go. And folks, let me encourage you, a lot of things, a big sports time, of course, on television, but I would not touch the dial on this SFL football this week and the next. As we said, a lot of playoff implications to pan out, and you're going to see some high-quality football, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I might be tuning into WrestleMania on Sunday, but I'm absolutely going to have that Florida-Canton game on beforehand at the same time, whatever, because that's a huge game. 2 10-0 teams duking it out. What a huge game that's going to be this weekend.
Davius Reed now Odaby, and no huddle. Maybe Charleston should have went to this a little bit earlier in the game, a little more fast tempo, keep Atlanta on their heels. Nevertheless, right now they are going that way. That pass is complete to Benjamin Warner. 2nd and 7, clock continuing to run. Complete over the middle again to Odaby. And as you see, John, just again deciding to go quick tempo here, and it seems to be paying off for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of a why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box kind of mentality when it comes to running the no huddle and it being effective. But it does feel like pace. Like they could have done some stuff with pace and putting Atlanta kind of on their heels, and Charleston just never really did that. 3rd and 12 here. Charleston, at least, I don't really believe in moral victories, but get some points on the board here. Kind of go home with a little bit of dignity intact, and then you're on the road again next week against Minnesota.
Yeah, I think it's very important, as you mentioned, to come away with points here because of the fact you do go into another tough team's home field. That pass is incomplete, intended for Warner. But that is important, just as you said, John, because of the fact you got to go on the road, you got to play a tough team. You need to, for just maybe morality or maybe even for your psyche, be able to say that you're able to put some good plays together down the pipe. And 4th and 12 coming up here, you know they need and want to convert on this.
Absolutely.
4th and 12, as we said, on the way, just outside of 2 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Legman just has to drop it off underneath the Hoagland. There was nobody home, just trying to find somewhere to go, someplace to be. There was no place to run and no place to hide. Turnover on downs.
Yeah. Something that Minnesota is pretty good at when you kind of look ahead at Charleston. They're pretty good at scoring points off turnovers, right? So, I mean, that's something that Atlanta did very effectively today.
2 minutes left here in the Hive in Atlanta. The Swarm leading very handily. Cameron Duty with John Warren. Big thanks to Robert Garrett Jr. and Declan O'Rourke in the stats truck and Cameron Irvine at SFL headquarters. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen, as we see Charleston now burn a timeout as Atlanta goes run heavy. John, let's talk. The game has been decided here for quite a while. Yeah. But let's take a look. You mentioned that big game coming up between Canton and Florida, 2 10-0 teams. And let's just talk about that. That's an important game for the SFL schedule this weekend. Can you give me a prediction? Who do you think will come out on top in that one?
Well, even though I think Florida has the best chance to beat Canton this year, they're really good in with adversity, right? They've come back to beat this Atlanta Swarm team. They've been resilient when they've faced challenges on a week-to-week basis. So if anyone's going to beat Canton on the schedule, it's going to be Florida. But I have to tell you, I've called a few Canton games. I cannot recall a team that has been as dominant on the line of scrimmage and just playing mistake-free football as Canton since I've been watching the SFL. So I predict Canton will win that game, but I think it'll be pretty close, and I think Florida will give them a run for their money.
Mike Daggs and Gerald Smith will have the call on that game, and talk about an iconic duo to call such a big-time game. I'm excited. I am too. It's going to be a lot of fun. There are a lot of great games, as we mentioned a few moments ago, all around the SFL, and that being one of them. Everybody will surely have their eyes on as Atlanta now in the victory formation, and they will wait and see what happens in what's in store for them if they have an opportunity and they have a moment to squeak in there and make it to the postseason. This team's going to come ready to fight. If it does end tonight, a very impressive season finale indeed.
Yeah, they've got a lot to be happy about. If this is it, if this is the last game of their season, they got a lot to look forward to. But you know what? On the flip side of that, you kind of alluded to it earlier. Whoever's got Atlanta in the first round, if Atlanta does sneak in, I would really prepare. I would really make sure that Atlanta doesn't hang 49 on them, because now that they've shown that they're capable of doing that, that could be a really dangerous squad heading into a one and done playoff scenario.
Let's not forget, John, this is also a unit, this Atlanta Swarm, that just 2 seasons ago went 11-1 and made their way deep into the postseason before losing. But, I mean, this is a team and a unit that shows they're very capable, as we said, of putting up big numbers and putting up very effective games.
Yeah.
Clock running down here, the play clock, and that'll do it. That'll do it. Dynasty and company, really, just from that second quarter on, it was all Atlanta for the entire night. A great victory, 49-7, folks. You are reading that score correctly. The largest margin of victory for Atlanta here in the Hive as they defeat the Charleston Predators. The clock is at 0. John, let's get ready and talk about some of the high points. I want you to name, of course, a player of the game and what it was that you took away from this game as we go to the stats for this evening.
Well, Kay Marion obviously has had an amazing individual effort, got over 1,000 yards for the season through the air, but I got to give it to Brian Dynasty just because so cool, so collected, had that turnover, did not phase him at all. 136 QBR with 75% completion percentage, 21 of 28, 4 touchdowns. I'm giving it to him, even though obviously Kay Marion had that huge game, obviously Chris Henry with the pick 6, but you expect Lakeman to turn the ball over a bit, so I'm giving the edge to Brian Dynasty. He gets my game ball for the Atlanta Swarm.
Folks, thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast with us. I want to thank, of course, Cameron Irvine in the production booth, Robert Garrett Jr. and Declan O'Rourke on stats. John, it has been a pleasure to call another game with you, my friend. I hope we get to do this down the road once more. It really is always a pleasure. Folks, thank you again for watching tonight. The final score from Atlanta, the Swarm, 49 points over the Charleston Predators. They will wait and see what happens next week to see whether they make it into the postseason, and Charleston will fight for their life next week in Minnesota. Until next time, my name is Cameron Duty saying so long. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time right here on YouTube.